My name is Carlos Arango, and we are here in support of the resolution being introduced by Alderman George Cardenas in defense of immigrant families today at the City Council. So basically, we represent the Alliance for Immigrant Rights, and the Alliance basically trying to move forward the whole demand to end all deportations and ask the President of the United States, Barack Obama, to declare a moratorium on deportations and extend the deferred action for all people who are undocumented. So no furthermore, I want to introduce Alderman George Cardenas, who's going to explain what is the resolution, and then we're going to have some speakers. We're going to have a representative of MALDEF, the Mexican-American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and other community leaders that are going to speak today in this press conference. But no furthermore, I want to introduce Alderman George Cardenas from the 12th Ward of Chicago.
Thank you, guys. I know we gotta get to the council. Again, this press conference is not about immigration reform. They're gonna get to it, or whether they get to it or not. We can't wait anymore on human rights. And this press conference is really about human rights. Let me give you some stats. And President Barack Obama has done enforcement and only trying to appease the Republicans. In the meantime, he has presided over more deportations than any other president, nearly 2 million to date. Such separations have left generation of families with a heavily emotional burden. At least 5,100 U.S. citizens, children in 22 states live in foster care now. According to an estimate by the Applied Research Center, others undocumented themselves cannot visit their parents. Hundreds of thousands sit in jails, and the only crime they committed was working at the time and being undocumented in this country. And I say again, they were plucked from their employment places and taken into custody. No other violations of any crime or legal activity occurred. The simple reason they got arrested is because they were working without proper documentation. These are the same people that were lured by U.S. companies to come here and work for substandard wages. Approximately 4.5 million American citizens have been born to undocumented parents, and about 660,000 have lost a parent to deportation since 1998. Now, I remind you, we're not the only ethnic group over time in history of this country that have been attacked from a human rights standpoint, whether it was the Indians, the African Americans, and other ethnic groups in concentration camps. You might as well put all these Mexicans in concentration camps like the Japanese. You might as well do that. At least that's a little more humane. At least we know where we stand. Research shows that deportations can lead to a host of trauma-related reactions to children. We have children in schools, gentlemen, in schools, traumatized by the fact that their parents are being persecuted. Not for no other fact, but they don't have the proper documentation to be in this country. We have now used illegal to dehumanize people for who they are. We've used these terms so we can understand each other, that they are lesser of a human than all of us that are citizens or so-called citizens. A 2007 study in the Journal of the National American Association found that just the fear of deportation, not deportation itself, was associated with the worst health outcomes and a greater emotional distress for children and immigrants. Hispanic Journal of Behavioral Sciences predicts poor health outcomes in children affected by this atrocity perpetrated by the government. This is a government that is supposed to help people. A government is supposed to protect people from the inhuman and sometimes acts of other humans. This is the same government that is supposed to be everybody equal under the law. The resolution is to protect families from separation through deportation, which is DACA. This is what this is about. Honestly, immigration reform, we keep talking about it. I've lost faith in the system. But the media can be a powerful weapon to bring to bear, or bring forward this human condition for thousands of families. Well, how is it in this country we allow that to happen when we cry human rights violations in China and India and other sub-Saharan continent countries? Please, this is total hypocrisy, and we should do something about it. This resolution talks about protecting, again, families from separation and deportation, and stop the government from dehumanizing such families. Quickly, economics of immigration. Immigration reform will generate $1.5 trillion in economic gains to the U.S., $48 billion in federal tax revenues that's already occurring. Immigrants started 28% of all businesses in this country. Think about the ironic of this stats. From 2006 to 2010, there were 98,000 new immigrant business owners in Illinois alone. In 2010, 20% of business owners in Illinois were foreign-born. And the stats go on and on. All I can urge is the media to pay attention to this human condition of families being persecuted, being deported, separated, children being affected, psychologically damaged for life. It's all I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that they print or they listen. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to introduce Alonzo Rivas from MALDEF, Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Please. Want to make a statement?
Gracias, Carlos. Good morning. MALDEF stands here this morning in solidarity with our immigrant community in Chicago. Official statements from state and local governments, such as Alderman Cardenas' resolution, are necessary to send a message to the Obama administration that the community cannot wait for Congress to get its act together and pass comprehensive immigration reform. It is within the executive's power to put an immediate moratorium on deportations and grant individuals on deportation proceedings deferred action. MALDEF and sister civil rights organizations have been making these requests for quite some time, but they have fallen on deaf ears. We are concerned not only with the fact that deportations are taking place, but also with the manner in which those deportations are being effected. Immigration and Customs Enforcement are violating the rights of immigrant families. We are seeing a pattern of constitutional violations from the part of immigration agents, not only towards the person who is the subject of the deportation, but also towards the person's family. Arrests are being conducted without the benefit of an arrest or search warrant, and many agents are invading the sanctity of these people's homes by coming into their residences without their consent to effect their arrest. This ugly pattern tells us that this administration is not only conducting business as usual, but is also stepping up its efforts to deport as many people as possible. This needs to stop. President Obama needs to know that the community knows it is within his power to do this, and that we are demanding immediate action now. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Julieta Bolivar, who's a community activist, to give a real short speech, a testimony, basically.
Good morning, and thank you very much for being with us. And personally, I was almost deported, separated from my family, my kids that they were born here. They're born here. The only thing that I did, like, I was here for years without documentation, and I was very little when they bring me here. So I wasn't able to make a decision where to go. Sometimes there's many families, many kids like that growing up because we don't have a choice to decide where to go. Sometimes they bring us, we grow up, and this is almost our country. It doesn't matter that we were born in another country. But things got, everything worked out in my favor, but it's just, I was very, very sad in that moment when they almost forced me to sign my voluntary departure because I wasn't able to decide what to do. In that moment, I was in another city, and they said, okay, if you want to see your kids, you have to sign the voluntary departure. So sometimes they use your kids, and they don't see how they suffer, the citizens from this country, kids that they don't know nobody else. They're not gonna be better with nobody else. They're gonna be okay with their own parents. It's just my, I hope President Obama thinks in his daughters and thinks in a minute, a second, that how he can feel if one day they can say, President Obama, you have to go to somewhere else, and your kids has to stay here, and just think, and I hope he can think in the families that are separated. Thank you very much.
Okay, the last speech today is from a representative from the Ecuadorian community.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, my name is Nelson Benitez, the Ecuador Unido Association. I say only two things, very short. President Obama, you have the power to stop deportation. Ya basta, no more liars, please. Basta.